Dundee United's Scottish Cup nightmare began back in 1974 when, with now well-known names like Walter Smith and Archie Knox in their side, they were crushed 3-0 by Celtic. However, it was the run during the 80s when the team was enjoying its best spell ever that really hurt. In 81, they were beaten 4-1 by Rangers after a no-scoring draw that many people thought they should have won.
McDonald wants it inside the fullback. John McDonald! Here's a chance for McDonald. And that surely ties it up for Rangers.
4 years later, with victory seemingly in their grasp after a Stuart Beattie goal, they again had the trophy snatched away. Celtic hit back, and after a stunning Provan free kick, a remarkable Frank McGarvey header left the dream in tatters. 2 years later, they were everyone's tip for the Cup. But after an exhausting season that included a UEFA Cup final defeat, they tumbled to St Mirren. Back they bounced the following year, and again looked to have laid the jinx. Once more, however, a Celtic fight-back proved too much, with Frank McAvenny robbing them of victory.
They're stuck. McAvenny!
This year they start favourites again, but the players quite rightly have pushed aside thoughts of previous finals and refused to talk of Hampden hoodoos.
We've never spoke about anything that's happened in the past, Alan. What's happened in the past we can't change. It's what's going to happen on Saturday, that's the thing that we're concerned about. We're confident, we've had a good preparation, we've enjoyed ourselves this week, and we're going to go down and give it 110%, and I'm sure with the breaks we'll be going up for a cup.
The game has been billed as the family final, with Jim McLean managing Dundee United and brother Tommy in charge of Motherwell.
Well, I've always said, and I can't change that now, that I hate these games. It doesn't give me any satisfaction at all to beat my brother's team, and at the end of the day that will not enter my head, and I'm sure it won't enter Tommy's head. The most important thing is that we will both be professional enough to get out and do a job, but I also say that it won't be any consolation until a few days later that if, for instance, we didn't win the cup, that it was my brother's team that won it. The most important thing is we're approaching it that we've got to cut his throat and we've got to win the cup, and that's all we're concerned about here at Tannadice.
United's road to the final hasn't been easy. They were given a real scare by lowly East Fife before beating Airdrie and Dundee. Then in the semi-final had a tough tie against St Johnstone at East End Park. So what makes them feel they can win the cup this time?
I think we can score. Although we haven't scored in the last few weeks, we definitely got the people who can score, and I think we've got slightly more experience as well. We've guys that have played in Europe, internationally as well. I think that'll get us through in the end of the day.
You're going to have a number of young players playing in the final. How difficult is it going to be for them?
Hopefully they'll be naive about the game and just turn up and play, Alan. Hopefully they won't think too much about it. It's obviously a big occasion for the club and the players. I'm sure the older players will speak to the younger players and just tell them it's just another game, really.
In the other games, I've been quite nervous before, but once you go in the park, you find that you tend to get in with the swing of things and that, you know, and it eases off, so it's not so bad. It doesn't affect you really.
As soon as the game starts, you don't hear the crowd. I'm concentrating on the game, so you don't hear the crowd. It's not going to be intimidating at all, no.
For one of United's unluckiest players, a place in the final would be a dream come true. Injuries have plagued Hamish French since he signed from Keith 4 years ago, but recently he's been back in this kind of form.
Up goes Clark! Hamish French!
My form has definitely improved over the last few weeks. It's still important that to take some of the chances I've been getting, and hopefully we'll get a chance on Saturday.
How tough a defence is Motherwell going to be to play against?
Well, any team in the Premier League are well organised and have strong defenders, so I mean, Motherwell are no exception. They're a hard team to play against.
Motherwell have been the Cup shock troops. They knocked out holders Aberdeen in the first round, then after beating Falkirk, scraped through against Morton before beating Celtic in a semi-final replay. They also showed against Rangers that they have the players that can rise to the big occasion.
Well, we've done well in the past 12 games. I think that's a couple of defeats. We lost on Saturday there, but we've done very well. The consistency is now coming into the team, whereas it wasn't. We were up and down, but we've got a wee bit of consistency going, and our injured players are now coming back, so hopefully everything will go.
This is not the Sahara, despite those tangerine clad Arabs behind me. This is the Tangerine Club in Dundee, where the United fans are in confident mood. They expect their team to succeed in tomorrow's Scottish Cup final, where they've failed 5 times before. Now, team-wise, Paddy Connolly, who rescued United in the 3rd round, of course, against East Fife, is ruled out. The big doubt, apart from that, surrounds Duncan Ferguson, whose goals have been so important to United in the Cup run, and he remains a doubt, his fitness. No doubt, though, about the strength of the United support, and the United commercial manager is Jim Connor. Jim, how many?
Well, we certainly reckon about 20,000, Rob. There's no question that we're going to have a tremendous following there at Tannadice tomorrow, and I'm sure, as you can hear behind us, we are definitely going to do it tomorrow. All the best.
They seem to be coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. No, that's not at all. We're going to bring this cup back to Dundee tomorrow. Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
So it's high volume from the Tangerine Club in Dundee. Let's go now to Motherwell and Hazel.
Thanks, Rob. Well, I'm here in the Fir Park Supporters Club in Motherwell. Now, here they are looking for their first Scottish Cup win in 39 years. Over 25,000 Motherwell fans will be making that journey to Hampden, and the latest news on the ticket front is that there's none left. So if you don't have a ticket, don't turn up at Hampden. It's officially a sellout. Well, we've been in the Motherwell training camp in Irvine today, and the news there is that manager Tommy McLean is threatening to take legal action against English First Division side Leeds United for what he considers to be an illegal approach for club captain Tom Boyd. Boyd is set to play his last game for the club tomorrow, and there have already been 2 legitimate bids for his services from Nottingham Forest and from Chelsea. And finally, Mr McLean has delayed naming his 13 for tomorrow's final due to an injury doubt to one of his players. Predictably, though, he wouldn't give us an identity to that player. Now, join us at 7 o'clock for a very special Friday sports scene on the eve of the big game. Yeah!
Brilliant play by Cooper! The opening goal for Motherwell! Good running by O'Neill, there's the header by Ferguson! And a chance now for Joe McLeod! Shot from John Clark. O'Neill. Run made by Cusack. There's a fine effort. Conor O'Neill has scored for Motherwell. Played in by Malpass. Here's Duncan Ferguson.
Hello and welcome. Thank you to a special Eve of Cup final Friday Sports Day. No prizes for guessing which team this lot are backing tomorrow. No, it's not the United Arab Emirates. I'm in the Tangerine Club in Dundee.
And I'm in the Fir Park Supporters... Well, I'm in the Fir Park Supporters Club in Motherwell. Here they're looking forward to their first Scottish Cup final since 1952.
Now, if you've been living on the moon for the last month or so, you might not know that the 2 Hampden managers tomorrow are the brothers, Jim and Tommy McLean. Now, Jim has tasted defeat in the Scottish Cup final 5 times, but he reckons his team will never have a better chance to put that record right.
Now, Tommy is currently doing it for Park, what brother Jim's been doing at United for years, and that's achieving success on a shoestring budget. Now, Motherwell are confident that they can upset the apple cart by beating United again. Let's start tonight with the 2 messages from the 2 camps.
This is United's big match headquarters, the Old Course Hotel in St Andrews. The one big question mark on team selection appears to be the fitness of Duncan Ferguson. But coach Paul Sturrock says there's no talk now about losing finals.
Well, you've got to remember there's about 9 to 10 of the players who are in the squad haven't tasted it yet. They haven't been to Hampden, they haven't played in a final. So they're going there not knowing what to expect, which is maybe a good thing as well. The youngster of today also is a different breed from my time. You know, they've no qualms, no pressure on them at all, and they'll handle it no problem.
They're used to winning things, and I think they'll think it's just part of the learning process of football, that they just keep on winning things, and hopefully it carries on tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the Motherwell squad seem to be finding the air at Irvine to their liking. No sign of Hampden nerves at this stage amongst the players or the manager.
We've worked hard to get there. It's not just a case of getting there and just playing a game. What we've got to do now is go up there and prove that we can be winners in a cup final. We've proved that we can win at Hampden, and now what we've got to do is win in a cup final.
I know you've got one injury out.
There's one of the players that's holding things back a wee bit. You know, he had a thigh strain earlier in the week, and he done his work this morning, got through everything today, but it's really a case of now reaction. But I'm assuming everybody will be okay.
Are you going to identify the player?
No, I'll keep that away from Jim. You'll know that later on.
Now a shadow was cast over the family final with the death on Wednesday of Jim and Tommy McLean's father, Tom Sr., and tonight our sympathies go to the McLean family. But they'd be the first to say the show must go on.
Now, it's only the second time in Scottish football history that two brothers have been in direct managerial opposition in a cup final. The last time was in 1912, but there's a third brother involved this
Like? No, in actual fact, his sense of humour is quite good when you get him away from the football, but obviously when you talk about football then it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation. Jim and I being close together in age, I'll not tell you who's the oldest, but obviously, you know, at that particular stage we were very ambitious as football players, and Tommy came along later and he just sort of followed on.
So obviously it's a final which really has got the imagination. I think now I've got to put you on the spot. You knew this would come. Who's going to win it?
Well, that's very difficult, to be honest with you. I see this final as completely wide open. For me, it'll be the team who performs on the day. Dundee United obviously have the organisational side tied up with their tactics, etc. But Motherwell will have that man Cooper, and on the day, if he turns it on, then one player could possibly turn the whole thing for the club.
Deep down, I've said over and over that I never like games against my brother's team, and this is no difference. It gives me no satisfaction at all to be the manager of the winning team over my brother.
Who's going to win it? I would say at the end of the day, I hope that Dundee United really, at the end of the day, get it, simply because of the fact that Jim has put so much into it, and it's possibly the one thing that's lacking, whereas Tommy, I feel he still has time to do it.
You want to apologise to Tommy now?
Sorry, Tom.
Well, that's 2v1 already, so I hope that's how it finishes on the day.
So the brothers have all had their say. Let's now get the United and Motherwell players to remind us how the two teams got to Hampden. The Tannadice men beat East Fife, then Airdrie, then city rivals Dundee. Thought you might say that. And then St Johnstone on the way to the final. And they were grateful, of course, on the way for the goals of 19-year-old Duncan Ferguson.
Dundee United will play in white tomorrow, and they're hoping the change of strip will help bring about a change in Hampden fortunes. But in truth, they're lucky to be there. The Tannadice team might not have got beyond their first match in the Tennant Scottish Cup.
We went to East Fife expecting to thump them and ended up, and we were very lucky to get through. We scored, I think, the third or fourth extra minute. And looking back, East Fife definitely deserved to get through there. We came up here, they wakened us up a bit, and we were on it quite easy winners in the end.
A long goal, I think it was a long ball into the box, and Big Duncan got up well and nodded it down. I think I just hit it on the drop, and luckily it ended up with the other side of the goalie.
You're so modest.
Me and Jack Ravokovic come break through for the back, and he passed it to the left, and I didn't even know where I had. I just hit it and went at the top of the goalie. They were saying the papers I aimed for the far corner, but I just hit it. I didn't even know where it was going.
Now the next round it was Airdrie who'd beaten Hearts in the last round, so again people were looking maybe for a possible shock there.
Well, yeah, Airdrie were doing well at the time. It was at Tannadice we came up and we played particularly well that day, and only beat them 2-0. Hamish French got both goals, but I think we could say we could have deserved more. But it was important to win that one, and a lot of people expect us to get beat that day.
We started the game really well and put Airdrie under a lot of pressure, but the goals, well, it was 0-0 at half time, the goals just didn't come. Started the second half, and we used the wind to good advantage that day. I think it was Alan Moon, 2 long kickouts, it led to the goals.
And when you score, they seem to come in doubles.
Yeah, it sometimes happens like that. You go through games and you get chances in a game which you take, and the next game for some reason they don't seem to go in.
Here a chance though for Dodds, he's clear now, the great chance for Dundee! 29 minutes gone, Dundee go ahead!
Well, believe it or not, that's the best thing that ever happened to us, was we lost a goal. We settled down after that and started to play some really good football and ended up easy winners. But I must thank Billy Dodds for waking us up.
Ferguson helping out on there, the equaliser, surely it's McKinnon! Jackson with enough pace, he's away from Craig. Appear to be eased off that, there's Jackson again, this must be the leading goal! Brilliant play by Jackson! Jackson's layoff, here's Ferguson. Help over on the far side in the form of John O'Neill. Looking to run it, Dundee once again. Such a tricky player, that's good running by O'Neill, there's the header by Ferguson! And that should tie it up for Dundee United.
Well, that was a clinching goal for us, I think, you know. She was just in the back post and he did it then. I think it actually hit me in the nose, I'm not sure. You've maybe seen it on telly, I think it hit me in the nose. I had my shot anyway.
That's what you call a downward header, wasn't it?
That was it, aye. Textbook one. Hit me in the nose.
And then the semi-final against St Johnstone, what do you remember of that?
Just remember it was a poor game and we won, as simple as that. I can remember John Clark's shot. I was relieved to see that go in.
Ferguson did well, there's Jackson. Came off the hand of Grant, the shot from John Clark! United have gone ahead, and John Clark has made the big difference.
Yeah, I'm up for everything, up for corners, free kicks, long throws, anything you can name, I'm up there. Well, being a striker before, I think you'd like to think you've still got a nose for goal. I don't know if that's right or not, but yeah, I'm up for everything, hope to get one.
There's Ray McKinnon. Led in by Malpass, here's Duncan Ferguson! The youngster puts United in front.
That was the one that put us into Hampden, aye. But Malpass, it was only outside the box and Mo hit it, and I think it hit off Gary McGuinness and it came up and hit me in the knee. At the time I didn't know it hit me in the knee, but it hit me in the knee and it came up, I just turned and hit it. And I looked over at the linesman, I thought it was offside, you know. But luckily he kept his flag down and that was it.
Now, how do you think you're going to feel in the dressing room before going out at Hampden?
Oh, I'll be really nervous. It's the biggest game of my life and one of the biggest for the club, you know. Especially after our runs in the past, but hopefully we'll do it this time.
And it could be the nicest day of your career, of course, but then you must win, and it's all about us to win on the day. Then it's a nice day. If you lose, it's just a terrible game.
It's with the pinnacle of the year, I've got to admit that. I've really enjoyed this season. Dundee United's done well. I've had a good testimonial year. So it'd be nice if I could go up and get that cup.
I read in the paper from certain biased pressmen that I've never won at Hampden, and if they look at the record they'll find that they're well wrong. We've beaten Celtic at Hampden, we've beaten Hearts at Hampden. We've also beaten Queen's Park at Hampden, and equally just last year in the league centenary game, I was manager of the team that beat the SFA. So they can forget about their hoodoos, they can forget about all the excuses. It's there to be won. We're good enough to win it. We've just got to go out in the day and do it.
Well, there's fighting talk for you, but you know, nobody in Motherwell is in the least bit interested in United's Hampden record. They've already shown what they're worth against the holders Aberdeen, and most memorably perhaps against Celtic at Hampden. And there's the extra incentive of providing some of their town to help it to forget some of its industrial problems, at least for a one weekend. When Motherwell set off down the road to Hampden in January, there was a sombre mood in a town which had just been given notice of its industrial demise. And when its football team drew the holders at Pittodrie, it looked as if nothing would go right in '91.
Look at our record up there in league games. We've not won, we hadn't won in 26 years up there. Although we did win our only previous cup tie up there, and it was a way back, I don't know when.
Cooper commanding this dead ball situation. Cross it goes to Kirk. And his first shot of the match has put Motherwell ahead. It's Steve Kirk's first touch in the game, and the Motherwell fans go wild behind that goal.
I think beating the champions on their ground gave us a great boost, and we had no one to fear after that, really. Falkirk, you know, they've had the reputation this season of being a good footballing side, and to come out here, the game was one of the best games I've played in this season in terms of the football that Gilt played that day.
Here's Cooper. Brilliant play by Cooper. The opening goal for Motherwell, scored by Nick Cusack. Williams, the back heeler releases Taylor. It's a brilliant goal by Falkirk. Motherwell going for the kill now. Here's Steve Kirk. Now Cusack. That settles it!
Morton coming down, they had nothing to lose. They played out their skins that day, and they got the replay that they wanted to take us back to Capella. The replay was another. It was a good game for myself because I scored the goal in that game, and Morton again. Once the initial 20 minutes had been over, we sort of run them ragged. They settled down, and for there at the end of the extra time, they were the better team.
Well, first blood to Motherwell. So O'Neill has the chance to win the tie and take Motherwell through to a semi-final against Celtic. It's all down to this kick. Totally convincing. Motherwell are through. Celebrations from O'Neill.
I used to do that all the time when I scored, but I don't do it often here because I don't score that many, so it was good to do a couple lately.
Just 3 days after a league win over Celtic, Motherwell almost achieved victory again in the semi-final at Hampden. The woodwork, the only obstacle in their way.
Getting into the second semi-final, yeah, we knew we should have played better in the first one. Celtic, they came out all guns blazing.
And it's cleared off the line. It's in this time. There's no argument. Celtic are in front. Good play there by Ferguson. And a fine cross. The first time effort. There's a chance for Arnott. Motherwell are back on level terms. Played in there by Collins. A clear headed over Rogan.
We went in 2-1 down, and to be honest, Celtic should have been up about 4-5-1 at half time. They tore us apart, and the manager gave the players a rollicking at half time. In the second half, we just came out a different team.
Luke Nyholt takes possession from Motherwell. There the header, and the equaliser for Motherwell. And it's little Dougie Arnott with his second of the match, who pulls Motherwell right back into the Scottish Cup.
I think self-belief I've gained over the last couple of seasons. They put me in the team 3 years ago, and I played a few matches then. You just grow in self-confidence. You know, it's part of the game. You know, it was a big step moving from junior to the senior level, but I think there's more to come.
There's Cook. Now O'Neill. A run made by Cusack as a fine effort. Colin O'Neill has scored for Motherwell.
I just remember thinking, if I miss this, the manager will be out of the dugout screaming, so I had to score, so we just went in, unfortunately. And then Luke Niholt near broke my neck, so he dived and tackled me, so it was a great night.
That's O'Donnell chasing. And winning the ball from Dubček. Back it goes to Kirk. That's a delightful ball to the far post. It was in. The referee has given the goal. Steve Kirk has scored again for Motherwell. And there goes the final whistle. Motherwell are through to the Tennant Scottish Cup final.
I think it's going to be the last game that we'll play for Motherwell, and I hope that that'll be the victory that we're looking for and leave Motherwell on a high note.
One of my ambitions is to get this club into Europe, and that would be achieved. So that would be a selfish thing. But the main thing is, I think we've a duty to this area. We've stirred things up since the semi-final, and we've a duty to try and keep the thing going.
Stirred things up they have. It's not so much cup fever in Motherwell, it's more advanced than that. There's a real sense of optimism and confidence in a town which has been engulfed by a sea of claret and amber. The players too have been swamped by summons from an adoring public.
That's until they're coming to do a warrant sale.
The buzz is really about the place everywhere we go now, and people's want to stop and talk to you and wish you all the best for the final. I think it's going to be tremendous. If we can turn it around now and win it for them, it'd be fantastic.
Davy Cooper already knows what it's like to beat United in the final. He scored first in Rangers' 4-1 win 10 years ago.
Derek Johnson's in, gives Cooper with a chance. And is it going in? It's a goal! Davy Cooper!
Ian Ferguson, though, lost 2 finals with United. Now he's hoping to inflict defeat.
Albeit that the Hampden hoodoo, I think, is a lot of rubbish. I hope it continues this year, and obviously I'm looking to do well for Motherwell, and hopefully we can get the right result on the day and send them up the road unhappy again.
Well, that went well here. The Jim McLean years have totally transformed Dundee United from a soft-touch provincial side into a well-crafted squad, which is the respect of the whole of Europe. Now, they reached the European Cup semi-finals in '84. They got to the final of the UEFA Cup. That was 3 years later. There was a Premier title in '83, League Cups in '80 and '81. But it's that Scottish Cup which has remained so elusive. 5 times between '74 and '88, they've lost in the final.
In Dundee, the dawning of a new football era began when Jim McLean took control at United nearly 20 years ago. Pretty soon, the city of discovery found itself with one of the top-rated teams in Europe. The Tannadice team showed no respect for reputations. This was an incredible 5-0 drubbing for Borussia Mönchengladbach, then one of the strongest sides in Germany. This was in the UEFA Cup 1981. Other big-name outfits met with a similar fate as United's newfound fame spread across the continent. This was the UEFA Cup 6 years later, and United coming back from 1 down to beat Barcelona in the Nou Camp Stadium. An achievement few have matched. The Tayside team went all the way to the final, where they lost over 2 legs to Gothenburg. But the little team from Tayside had made a big impression on the European stage. It's in Scottish Cup finals that United have had a singular lack of success.
And there's a beautiful ball to Kenny Dalglish. Great chance for Dalglish. Here's Dixie Deans. It must be... It's there! That's to John McDonald. He's onside. There's McDonald. He's put it through and he scored. 4-1 for Rangers. Here's Aiken. Good drifting ball. It's there in the derby. 2-1.
United's 4th losing final was against St Mirren. Ian Ferguson scored the only goal of the game, and again it was runners-up medals for the Tannadice team. '88 was a repeat of '85. United took the lead against Celtic, then lost out 2-1. Tomorrow they're back at Hampden, looking to succeed where they've 5 times failed.
Now Hamish McAlpine's a popular character in these parts, as you can hear. Now we can only blame you for 2 of those finals, I think.
Well, maybe.
But obviously painful memories.
Yes, looking back on it, the time it was painful, but we've been there, you know. Unfortunately, we were beaten in the ones that we did play in. But a lot of players have played in their many years in their career and they've never got to the final, so I'm quite happy we got there. At least, you know, we gave quite a good account of ourselves. On the day we probably never played as well as we could have played, you know.
How much do these games matter though in terms of tomorrow? They must be in the back of some players' minds, surely.
Tomorrow, not really, because I think maybe Morris Malpass was probably about the only one. David Airy, whether he plays tomorrow, I don't know, but there's a lot of young boys out there and young lads now. They don't seem to bother, like, you know, they've got a lot of years ahead of them, you know. We were probably at that time, you know, a very experienced side. We've been together for a long time. He's got guys tomorrow that it's their first season that come in, so they're really going to go out there and I hope they enjoy themselves. It's a great day for you. I mean, looking back at it, it's a fantastic day to play in, but when you get beat, you know, which we have done, you come back and you're saying, oh God, you know, what do you think? I mean, you can see the folk behind, you know, you've done it for yourself, you've got there, you let yourself down, you feel, you let the punters down, and at the end of the day, that's what counts, you know, but yeah, as life goes on, you've got to go on and pick yourself up and go on from there.
Are you sounding fairly confident of a Dundee United win?
Yes, I was probably more confident when I played that we were going to win, and I think it'll be a very good game tomorrow. There's a lot of skill on both sides, young lads in the side, so I think it'll be a very good game with 2 or 3 goals, hopefully.
OK, thanks very much indeed. And from Hamish to Hazel.
Thanks, Rob. Well, Hamish in very good form there, but there are a few people in here, I suspect, that are old enough to remember the last time Motherwell went to the Scottish Cup final. The year was 1952, and I think a team called Motherwell might have won it. Am I right? Yes, Well, 7 members of that cup-winning side will be at Hampden tomorrow. They'll be parading in front of the crowd, and I'm sure that will jog quite a few memories. There have never been scenes like it before or since. Thousands lined the streets to welcome home the triumphant Fir Park side after Hampden victory in 1952. It was the only time the Scottish Cup has ever been paraded up Motherwell High Street. 39 years on, those pictures jogged the memories of 2 of the heroes that day, goalscorer Wilson Humphreys and captain Willie Kilmarnock.
Remember we left Fir Park, there was a band in front of the bus. It disappeared halfway down the road, remember?
I'd forgotten that, is that right?
Aye.
Even more vivid in the memory banks was the 52 final itself, when a crowd of over 136,000 people watched Motherwell defeat Dundee 4-0.
Watson snaps up the ball, he's running through and he's scored. Now for the second. Aikenhead centres. The ball is cleared and there's no sign of danger till Redpath fires a snorter. Henderson is unsighted and the ball ricots into the net to put Motherwell 2 up. Now Motherwell are off again. Humphrey shoots and it's a 3rd goal for the Fir Park club. And no one better deserves the right to receive it than skipper Willie Kilmarnock, but for whose goal line saves Dundee might have won.
You dream about winning the Scottish Cup. And when you woke up and somebody hands it, you say, my oh boy, dreams come true.
It means more now, obviously. I mean, this cup already means more to me than it did then, because of all this hype. All you folks in the media, I mean, it's tremendous, and the flags, you're talking about the flags up the street, you know. But, I mean, it was great winning the cup. That was it, you gave your badge away and that was it. You forgot about it. Until now. I mean, I only realise now, I'm a better player now than ever I've been in my life. Do you not think that too? Did you ever sit under the cameras before?
No, that's the first time.
I mean, you know, all these things. I'm a better footballer now than ever I was.
So often in past years, these same fans have known the disappointment of final defeat. So we leave it to them to say now, fan Motherwell.
That says it Fir Park.
There's old John.
Very good,
very good, isn't it? Well, I just hope we do it again on Saturday.
That's the quickest game we've played, yeah.
Terrific memories from Willie and Wilson there. Bobby Russell, you're not included in the squad though, but you're in a great position to see how is the cup fever building up here. It seems quite mad.
Well, you just have to look around us right now. The place is buzzing, and they're anticipating a win tomorrow, which I'm sure the boys will do it.
Really, since the semi-final win to get through to the final, just what's the atmosphere been like? What sort of things have been going on in the town?
Well, I've not really been involved. I've been on the treatment table, as the boys at Irvine will testify to that. But they've been incredible. I mean, they've been wishing us all the best all the time. Everywhere you go, you get recognised, and they always wish you all the best.
You've been down with the lads in Irvine. What's the spirit like there? Cliched question, I know, but it's pertinent tonight.
Yeah, they're looking forward to it. It's a new thing for most of the boys, and I just hope that they enjoy the occasion, because it's an occasion to enjoy.
Do you think there is some nerves? After all, you have a lot of young players in the Motherwell side just now.
Right now, I don't think there'll be any nerves at all. It's when they get up tomorrow morning, going for breakfast, then it gets nearer the time to go on the bus to Hampden. That's when the nerves start, and then it's half an hour before the game. And if I can talk about Colin O'Neill, he's the one that the nerves affect the most.
Yeah.
He's physically sick, and but it never stops him from having a good game.
It seems to enhance his performance, if anything.
Yeah, he always goes out there, and he's always got plenty of enthusiasm, plenty of stamina.
No, Bobby, I'm sure it'll be a good day for you and for Motherwell, should
Yeah,
they
I'm sure.
do it. Thanks
I'm sure
very much
Bobby.
for chatting.
Thank you.
Now, when the nation set out on the road to Hampden back in December, I don't think many would have predicted a Motherwell-Dundee United final. They've destroyed a few cup dreams along the way, perhaps one of your teams.
Well, the great thing about the Tennant Scottish Cup is that it's exactly that, a nationwide competition. Dreams of Hampden on a summer day in May can be born in the most unlikely places. For example, Victoria Park, Dingwall, home of Ross County, and weather conditions which make everyone a blue nose, no matter with which particular team your affections lie. So it's Ross County against Alloa on a surface which really demanded ice axe and crampons, and nerve pills for goalkeepers. Meanwhile, the tide was about to come in on another non-league team. Over in Fraserburgh on the east coast, it wasn't exactly Ambrosillaire weather either in the old fishing town. But given the best traditions of the fleet which braves the North Sea, Fraserburgh sure do know how to hit the net. Sorry to bring up the weather again, but we can only hope it's better than this at Hampden on May the 18th. This is Queen's Park against Stranraer in round 2, and a fair claim for goal of the tournament from Stranraer's Lex Grant. Meanwhile, the Old Firm were cruising through with Celtic winning against Forfar at Station Park, courtesy of this goal from Darius Dovcek. And Rangers were beating Dunfermline 2-0 at Ibrox.
Johnston, Judges hit one up for Haitley. There it is for Hausler, and Rangers are ahead.
In fact, it was raining goals all over Scotland. Hitmen everywhere were getting the results to rehearse on the practice ground.
For the Baltic supporters, Tom McQueen sent the ball across. Distal a bit thin in the bag now, and now, of course, the drop from Steinrod to McGibbon. More pressure from Airdrie, the McDonald corner on the right. John Watson, it's in, and Airdrie have scored.
At Stair Park, St Mirren Spaniard Victor Munoz was scoring a cracker, bringing one beam of sunshine in an otherwise miserable winter for the Paisley club. This time it's adios Stranraer. Meanwhile, remember Ross County? They eventually crashed out in the third round to Meadowbank, but they will forever remember the night the Kings of the North dismantled Queen of the South 6-2 in round 2 at Palmerston. And so onward towards Hampden, and the goals just kept on coming. Rangers were easing through against another team from Fife, Cowdenbeath, and Mark Haitley was beginning to find that Midas touch.
Graney calls for the ball through the middle. Well picked out there by Rogan. Magnificent finishing from Jerry Graney. And right to order, Peter Weird-Elevens.
The vital statistics of Dave McCabe's season before the game against Meadowbank was 17 goals in 20 matches, but the lure of a quarter-final tie against his old club Motherwell inspired him to score within 5 minutes at Capello. Suddenly, it's 18 goals in 21 outings. Morton made the quarter-finals, but so too did the Old Firm, and the draw proved for once and for all there were no hot and cold balls.
There's Graney! The dump check with the free kick. That's well stopped and deflected! 2-0 to Celtic!
Moore's header! Oh, it's a hat-trick! A hat-trick for Alan Moore!
Well, Moore's hat-trick, nor the major drama of the Old Firm was to lead down the road to Hampden. For them it was no more than a cul-de-sac. But none of that will upset Dundee United and Motherwell tomorrow afternoon. From Fraserburgh to Stranraer, the eyes of the nation will be on the grand old home of Scottish football.
Well, it's a great cup final story, but it's down to two teams. Is it Dundee United or is it Motherwell?
Well, Rob, Motherwell have used up all their luck tonight. They got Hazel Irvine, we got you. Tomorrow it's the Scottish Cup for the Arabs.
Legal action pending over that comment. What about you, sir?
If we take our chances, which we inevitably will, 3-0 United.
What about the headgear, chaps? Where are you getting this from?
For my wife's mate.
And what's the story? Why are you wearing it?
Because it's a nickname.
Okay, ask a silly question. We end with an appeal. This man at the end, he's got a ticket for the final. He doesn't have transport. If you can help him, contact the Tangerine Club. Now the Fir Park Club.
Well, yes, indeed. Now, one man who is the character from Motherwell is Andy Russell, the groundsman. He's been there for, what, 30 years, Andy? What do you remember that 52 when you were there?
Brilliant. That is all I can say, Hazel, and it'll be the same tomorrow.
You reckon, do you?
Brilliant.
Now, you've seen a lot of changes, Andy, over the years, obviously. How does this team compare to the 52 team in your estimation?
Well, football has changed, and from the days we're talking about in 52, there are no individuals in the game bar the coop, and I think it'll be a great final. And I'm only saying to Jim McLean, don't pay your toll fee coming out of Forth Road Bridge because it will waste of money.
Andy, thanks. Joe Ward, you played for Motherwell for 16 years. You were in that great team in the 70s. What do you remember of this team in comparison to your own? Are they better?
I don't know whether they're better or not. They carried a little bit of luck so far, so no, it's not too bad.
Joe,
they'll do it tomorrow as well.
Thanks very much. Have to cut you short now. Now, just to add a bit of spice to the occasion for those of you at home, we have a telephone competition. The number to ring is 0898 88 1991, and the challenge is to name the first goal scorer in tomorrow's final. The prize is 6 non-residential places on the SFA's play ball scheme for youngsters this summer. Lines are open until kick-off. Calls should cost an average of 20 pence, so get phoning.
And that's all from us for this special edition of Friday Sports Scene. And it's all from Friday Sports Scene till the new season. From all in Dundee, it's good night.
And tomorrow, of course, we'll be back on the air with Cup Final Sports Scene. It begins at 2 o'clock. I do hope that you'll join us for that. We're on the air live from Hampden Park. Next, it's Left, Right and Centre with